consider a redress for the victims of the drug, which was given to women in the 1960s and 70s. We're joined by Chris Gooch, who was prescribed Primados by her GP. Chris Gooch, thanks ever so much for joining us today. Theresa May, we've been talking to the former Prime Minister. She talked about how sometimes it felt like officialdom in this instance was patronising campaigners. Did you feel patronised?
Absolutely. I think not just in the beginning, but I think right the way through, and sadly that's continued until the present day with the current regulators, with the manufacturers. It's always been deny and protect the pharma industry, not the patients. It really does feel as though the regulatory system's broken, and we have been dismissed for 50 years.
And yet the most recent review found that avoidable harm was at the heart of this, that the harm that was caused was entirely avoidable.
Absolutely. I think the sad thing is, and in fact the thing that makes me most angry is not initially, and initially we suspected, but we weren't aware. But now that we found so much evidence, we can see that they were aware right from the beginning that this was a huge risk of causing harm, and yet they've denied and protected all the way through. They're still not prepared, at least the manufacturers aren't prepared to acknowledge the harm that's been done. I'm very grateful to Theresa May for having looked at all the evidence, looked at the history of it, and for actually acknowledging that avoidable harm has been done.
Chris, can we just talk a little bit about the what and the when and the why of the thing? And for people who aren't familiar with Primados and why it was taken, what were your circumstances and how did it affect your life?
I was 21. I went to the GP and I said, I think I might be pregnant. And she just handed me 2 tablets from the drawer and said, oh, take these, one today, one tomorrow. If you're pregnant, you won't come on. And that was it. I knew absolutely nothing. I trusted my doctor. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what there was any other means of testing. I didn't go and ask for a test. That was what happened. And then when Emma was born, she was born without any proper fingers, bar one, and toes were webbed, foreshortened, and she had a heart murmur, and she potentially, they said hip dysplasia, but she now has spinal problems and has to walk with a stick. So, yes, not good.
And presumably, from the general practitioners right through to more specialist clinicians, said to you over the years perhaps, that actually all those things could have been naturally occurring. When did you start to think actually there was a connection with Primados?
I think I felt relatively quickly, to be honest, that there was a problem here because I didn't smoke or drink. And I thought, well, I've not taken anything. There's absolutely no problems within the family. And so this was a very odd occurrence. Emma was born in 71. In 1978, I started writing to the BMA, the MRC. Someone suggested the FPA, Family Planning, and they actually gave me the contact details for the original organisation of the Association for Children Damaged by Hormone Pregnancy Tests. And that was the first time I found out that there were other people that had formed a group and were campaigning. Jack Ashley brought this up in Parliament in 1978 and tried to get a public inquiry, but it didn't occur. So it's over 40 years now that this has been known about, and only today really are we starting to get any results. Very, very grateful as well to Baroness Cumberledge for her review on First Do No Harm. And I do think that the regulatory system needs to be changed in the country, and we need to be given redress now.
Yeah, we'll come on, Chris, to what redress looks like in just a second, but just going back to that time in the early 1970s, it's worth bearing in mind that if you think of the Sunday Times reports on thalidomide then, under the editorship of Harold Evans, wasn't it? That this was the idea that a common garden drug could cause serious, really damaging birth defects was widely understood because of thalidomide.
It should have been. It absolutely should have been. But the regulators, sadly, did nothing. Isabel Galb, who was a paediatrician, raised the concern about it in 1967. She was dismissed, as have we been all the way through, and her career was ruined. But so they've known about the risks for a very long time, right from 67. Now, if I'd known about the risks, obviously I would never have taken it. And I didn't take any medication. I didn't go to the doctor and ask for anything. This was just a test for pregnancy. It wasn't, I didn't go and say, oh, I've got terrible morning sickness or I need a tablet for anything. So it was literally just a test. But they have known about this for so long.
Can we just finally think about redress? I mean, we know that Bayer, the pharmaceutical company which took over the pharmaceutical company which made Primados, says no causal link can be proven between taking of the drug and subsequent deformities. What do you say to that analysis?
Well, they've always said this. I think we know in our hearts that that's not true. They've always denied and protected. They fund our regulators, which is completely wrong. How can you have a regulatory system that is supposed to work for the protection of patients, and they're actually funded by the pharmaceutical companies? So when something goes wrong, they're not going to protect the patients. They inform the pharmaceutical company that there's a problem. So this is the situation. So we will fight them. We will continue to fight them. We have done for over 40 years, and we're not going to give up now.
Chris Gooch, appreciate your time. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
You can see our full documentary, Bitter Pill, Primados.